Well, hello, I am Chanel Dupree, the host of Navigating Child Welfare, and I am so excited. We have a special guest on today, Lauren Welch. And we know that navigating child welfare, that there are so many facets to this, but the entire idea is how can we make sure that our families have what they need to thrive? An important piece in this is our workforce. And so, Lauren, if you would just introduce yourself, introduce your nonprofit, Social Empowerment Texas, and let's just start having a conversation about the work that you're doing and the impact that you're having in your community.
Yeah, thanks, Chanel. Yes, Lauren Welch, and as Chanel said, I started a nonprofit organization in Texas called Social Empowerment Texas. I myself have been a foster and adoptive mother. I have three kiddos, all teenagers. So if you have a moment of prayer or just a time to,
I'm with
just
you.
three teenagers. Uh-huh.
I'm with you.
Yes. Um, so they're 14, 16, and almost 19, and we adopted them from foster care when they were 4, 5, and 9. And as foster and adoptive parents, and having experience working in the space, not for CPS, but working in nonprofits that support workers, it became very clear and evidence through personal and professional experience that there was a gap that I was seeing in just the support for workers and support for those that work at CPS. And so, yeah, Social Empowerment Texas really just exists to support CPS employees, workers, support staff, case managers, investigators, the whole supervisors, managers. I don't care, right? If you work in the
Mhm.
space and support can be utilized to keep retention up and keep turnover down, that's our goal.
What is your story? Like, what is the thing that, like that light bulb moment? Because oftentimes there can be a lot of frustration in
Yeah,
child welfare, and y the typical response is blame and they're not doing what they're supposed to be. So your response has been different, and
yeah,
so I just want to hear what is your story? Like, what led you to understand the
yeah.
challenges?
That's a great question because I think I even, I have stories of sitting in the CPS lobby, not in Texas, but this was in North Carolina where I needed something and I wasn't getting it. Nobody was returning my calls.
Hmm.
And so I sat in that lobby. And I think at the time I had a 2-year old, I had a toddler, and he's crying in the lobby. And I'm like, I'm not leaving until I get what I need. Right. So there's definitely experience there. And I think what took me to get to a place of seeing it from the other side or seeing it from a different side or a different way
Hmm.
was the work I did in Virginia. My husband is military, so we
Obviously, because you've named like three different states.
yes, that's right. That's what I was going to say. I should have started there.
Okay.
Yeah, we fostered and adopted our middle son, who's 16, in North Carolina, and then we moved somewhere short term, and then we went to Georgia, and then adopted our other two. Bookended my middle son. Yes, and then he retired out of Virginia. We went back to Virginia. I mean, that's not the web. It's not the podcast, but yes, we've lived, I think, 10, 12 places in 20 years. And so it's really nice to be situated in Texas now. But
Sure.
when I lived in Virginia, I worked for an organization that supported workers, supported um, families, foster adopted kinship families, and supported age out foster youth. And so I, through the work with workers there, to see and to work, because we did like CPS support groups, we did like CPS events and appreciation events, and to see it and to work with those people on the other side to see that yes, there the lack of resources and everything, and the working 60 plus hour weeks, and
Yeah.
the secondary trauma and the compassion fatigue, and seeing it all and saying then okay, then it is a challenge. It's still a challenge. Working with CPS is still a challenge. So how do we make it better for them to make it better for us, right? So if we make
Hmm.
it better for them and help support them in their job, that will trickle down to support of foster families, right? And then support for kiddos and homes. And so that's kind of where the light bulb moment. And then I worked really closely with a few in Virginia that was like seeing it from the, like really becoming like close knit with those people to say, man, like you're really you really love your job and it's your whole life.
Yeah.
And okay, right? Like to kind of flip it on its end. I did start writing a book a few years ago and included work with some workers that I knew. And so that, yeah, all of that kind of combined to be, wait a minute, what is really needed and how can we step in that space?
So for me, what it sounds like is you begin developing relationships with people and
Right.
having conversations, and you widen your perspective,
Right.
and you begin to understand that, okay, it's not just about the struggles and the frustrations that I have, that there are many folks within the system that have different ones, and it's all
Right.
colliding, and we all have
Right.
to work together.
Right. Right.
Okay.
Well, yeah, and just another quick piece to that was all my so that my three kiddos we adopted from foster care, we were their 12th,
Wow.
like a dozen placements. We were their 12th placement.
Yeah.
And so not that that has everything to do with, workforce retention of CPS, but some of it, like looking at what we can, what kind of in my book I was writing about was like, what can we solve or what can we fix? What can we do better at in that
Hmm.
space of why displacement happens in foster care? And so, yeah, that was also a piece of, yeah, what can we solve, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
in that challenge? Because that's a lot of placements.
No,
That's a
it
lot of
is.
kids calling somebody mom and being confused and feeling given
Mm,
up on and all of that.
mm. Lauren, you are my type of person,
Mm,
a person that doesn't just like admire the problem, but says, okay, what is one thing? Like, what's one
right.
thing? So let's
Right.
talk about Social Empowerment Texas
Yes.
and your one thing. What are you doing? How do you help? And what are you excited about just in the future regarding the organization?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Um, I've been working with some of our board members are either current workers at CPS or past workers at CPS, which has been really helpful too as to why, the exit when you're talking about the workforce. And so I've kind of grouped our activities into two things. One is like in the here and now. And then, of course, long term would be how do you solve it? If you can help in the here and now, how do we look at changes in the system itself? I mean, that would be amazing. And it's just like a thought to pray on. But that's
Hmm.
kind of that longer term. How do we not just do it here, but how do we do it indefinitely or in the future?
Yeah.
In the here and now, we have been supporting things like appreciation events. We've been calling these, we do some of these like surprise pop ups where we show up unannounced. Of course, the office person knows we're coming, but the
Mhm.
staff doesn't. And they can smell popcorn coming down the hall. And so they come down
Mhm.
and we praise them and thank them and hug them and listen to them and give them snacks and support.
Mhm.
We're working to roll out a program called Social Stars, which is really a one-on-one appreciation encouragement program that a volunteer gets trained, a worker applies, and it's kind of like an adopt a worker where it's a
Mhm.
one-on-one kind of long-term relationship with that worker. We're also doing some, again, it's like the worker and then also the space. So the space of CPS, visitation rooms are often everything's broken. If your experience with them, they're broken.
Mhm.
Everything's white. Everything's just very. I walked into the first one when I started and was like, it looks like a jail. Like it just looks
Mhm.
broken and dingy and not the place that you want parents meeting with kiddos.
Yeah.
And so we did a project in May. We're working on another one now where we repainted, put a mural up, put really nice
Mhm.
inspirational stuff up, made the space more calm and inviting for parents. And I think the biggest piece for me is removing toys that are loud and take batteries and are annoying as parents that you just want to sit there with a headache in the corner and really putting in things that you have to do together so that
Okay.
helps that connection that what during visitations. We also went into the observation rooms themselves and put up some art and just made it more inviting, some lamps, put some
Mhm.
new office supplies in there, put a snack cart in, just making that experience for workers a nicer one.
Mhm.
And then I'm trying, this is me thinking, right? Because there feels like we're working on a professional development scholarship. So if workers would like upskilling and they'd like new training, but the cost is prohibited to CPS, we can
Mhm.
help pay for that so they can get that upskilled. Again, the question really is, Chanel, like what keeps you in your job longer? What keeps you or your office in the job longer? I just submitted a grant yesterday too to do some mental health programming in offices, and
Mhm.
it was with puppies,
Oh,
like
yes.
puppy snuggling. Oh my gosh. So I
Yes.
submitted a grant for that so that you can just, I don't know, again, you think about And we're, a big piece has been I have a social work intern starting in the fall. And for her to speak to workers to be able to say, yeah, what is it? How do
Hmm.
we, the ones that have stayed in their jobs for 30 years, how did you do it? What was there? The ones that left after a year, why did you leave after a year?
Yep.
So it's not just us saying what we think you need, it's saying what is it you need, and then us filling that gap so that you can hopefully stay in your job longer and enjoy it longer, right? Like not just stay, but be happy in it and feel good about
Yeah. So a couple of things that I
it.
heard, like, although what you do is you are working to like empower and support child welfare professionals and social workers, the work that you're doing also trickles down and impacts like parents and
Yeah.
families. And so I just wish we understood that on a system-wide level. It's like when,
Yes.
when you improve one thing, you're touching
Yes.
so many others by changing the visiting room and the parenting time room and replacing the toys, and like that helps the organization, like the
Yep.
workers, but it also
Yep.
impacts the families and the children. And so that is amazing. That is
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah. What are you excited about?
So our organization right now is really just Region 7 of Texas, which is the greater Austin, Central Texas area. It's the largest region in Texas. The goal long term would be amazing is to get that our programs that are piloted and we have proof of concept and that they work to
Hmm.
put them in other regions in Texas. Hence, putting Texas in the title, right? The long term goal would be that we could do this everywhere. If it works here, we could do it other places.
Sure.
We
Hmm.
are redoing, there's the largest office in Austin that has 8 visitation rooms and 4 observation rooms. And we've taken on doing those this fall with some other partners and some opportunities. So that's going to be a really huge lift for a new organization. And then, like they said, the other exciting pieces are I just love partnerships. I think everything is done, like you said, we're in relationship and partnership with others. And so finding new ways to help others fill gaps, or if organizations, for example, work in supporting foster families and they work and they support CPS kind of on the side as kind of like a ancillary, that
Hmm.
we can help make those things larger or bigger or help support more, more groups that way.
Gotcha.
Um,
So you're open to like connecting with others who are like in this
yes,
space and saying, okay, this is our niche. This is what we do really well.
correct.
And partnering. I love that. Larger impact for sure.
Yeah, an organization locally talked about a Christmas party for like a county's workers, for the workers, not the kids.
Hmm.
Again, things that you don't think about, but you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And they were like, we just don't have the capacity to put it together. And I was like, well, what if, we come along and we bring others and you bring others and we can collectively
Yep.
make it happen as a group. So that's the plan.
Okay. I
Yeah.
love that. I love that, Lauren. What else? Is there anything else that you want to share and just let folks know? And like, how can people reach out to you? How
Yeah.
can, like, what's the pipeline to start working with you?
Yeah, we do have a website and it's socialempowertx.org, which is amazing too, because we're 3 months in. And so I've just had a really amazing group of volunteers to help support all the things that I lack in. You know what I mean? Like all the
Mhm.
spaces. And so I had a volunteer put website together, which has been incredible. We do have Facebook and LinkedIn, and we do have Instagram. And I have a young high school intern wanting to do TikToks. So that's not yet happened, but my brain's a little bit
It's a
um,
thing. It's a whole
I
thing.
I know. She's like, you really need TikTok. I was like, do I really need it? Um, but
For
on our
sure.
website is, of course, an email address. Our website also has programs and project photos of like recent projects we've completed or things like appreciation events. And then big on our website, of course, is volunteer opportunities, volunteer application. I have volunteers right now from locally who help with like events and activities locally, and then I
Mm.
have some that are in other countries that want to help in the way of like research or data. Um, me trying to find, hey, I need you to review this website because somebody sent it to me as important to the work we're doing. Can you review and summarize it? And so I have a handful of volunteers that do things like that for me, which is amazing.
Mhm.
So definitely opportunity to volunteer locally or virtually. And then of course we have a donate button on the page as well to help support the work we're doing. So yeah, the website would be probably the best option for the most clear, the easy to find, information and email address for sure.
I'm going to ask you kind of a technical question because I'm in Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas is privatized, so it's like we have the state agency, and but then we have the Department for Children and Families, they do the initial, like, they do the
Right.
hotline, they get the report, they're going out and doing the initial assessment, and then if a child ends up in foster care, then there's agencies that are
Yes.
responsible for that. So in Texas, is it privatized? Is it partially? Like, who are you working with?
Yeah, that's a really great question because we're in the process of privatizing. I think is the right word.
Hmm.
And I would have to look up the name of it. But it's a process that everybody's like, they already figured out, I think, who are those organizations that are going to do it.
Okay.
So it's in that process of probably the handful of year process
Okay.
of putting out, RFPs and
RFPs.
reviewing them and
Yeah.
approving them and everything. And so right now, we are only working with CPS itself.
Okay.
And I think as that process becomes more real, then
Hmm.
those things will be adjusted. But currently, CPS is the only, we've got child placement agencies, you have CPAs locally.
Okay.
Um, so,
Well,
yes,
I'm saying all that to say, Lauren, that there's going to be lots of opportunities to work
yes,
with different organizations,
yes,
because it's like even though it sounds like Texas is kind of becoming privatized or splitting off, it doesn't matter. Like, all parts of this work can be heavy and hard, and so whether it's going out on the initial report or working with families who are
yeah.
involved in the system, all of our workforce needs support. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, kudos to you. Is there anything that you want to share? Any last kind of final words?
Yeah, I'm thinking about my hope is, and I think to some of the conversation we had earlier, one of the discussions has been even, because when you say CPS, you said this earlier, when you say CPS, it becomes either, I think, I think so far, two things happen. Either what you talked about earlier, like the negatives or the lack of, that I didn't hear from them, or again, that turnover rate that becomes, because there was times when we were foster parents that I tell my husband, I was like, we haven't seen anyone in 3 months. This is me looking at a non-watch that doesn't exist, but we haven't seen anybody in 3 months. And we don't even know who it is because the turnover was so bad that somebody called and said, I'm your new worker. And they asked all the questions. You spent the time on the phone. And then 2 weeks later, someone else called, I'm your new worker.
Wow.
And that's, of course, um, leads to foster parents also not wanting to continue with that rate
Right.
of their retention issues. Because I haven't heard from anybody. I don't even know who to go to.
Right.
Sorry, I got distracted again. But there was so the two things I think that happen when you talk about supporting CPS is kind of that, right? Is why would you want to do that? We talked about earlier the frustration versus what's going on in there that can be supported. The second piece, I think, and I've seen it, I've like presented at some groups recently that people are like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, what is CPS? Which
Yeah.
is crazy to me in this day and age. And so I
Hmm.
literally had to go through all my flyers, Chanel, and say, we have to write out what CPS is because there's
Yep.
people who have no idea what the acronym is. So people getting educated in the first place.
Yep.
Like so like when I present places, I kind of do a few minutes of just who are we talking about? Like, can we set the stage of understanding as to who we're talking about in the first place?
Hmm.
Um, and so I think, sorry, just as a side, I think that's just the space of getting into places and educating and and then getting people to understand to go, oh my gosh, you're right. They do a lot of things.
Yep.
They are in the courts and they are in the hotels with kids and staying in the office and they're being yelled at by everybody and they're
Yep.
constantly in their car, which is one thing too, Chanel. We've been doing car kits so that workers who spend
Oh.
so much time in their car at least have like some protein snacks and some like a notepad, a water bottle, a pen. They have a stress ball. They have
Mhm.
things in their car, a flashlight. Things that can help them as they spend their entire life sometimes in the car. Uh, I don't know
Well,
where I was going with that as
well,
much as
Lauren,
just,
I mean, you're thoughtful, like you're being thoughtful, and you're thinking about the things that can make just life easier and bring just a
yes,
little bit of hope, a little bit of joy, a little bit of, okay, I can make it through this
yes.
type situation when you're in,
Well,
because
yeah,
it can be your passion, but it can still be hard. Like it can be your
yes,
calling, but it can still be a weight. And so that's what I see like your organization
yes,
doing. It's providing those small moments of joy
yep.
for individuals that are in at times a very hard
Oh, yeah.
space.
I can't
As a
imagine.
Yeah, for sure, for
Well,
sure.
that really quickly, when we were in Virginia, I had a worker who I dropped off, because part of that Social Stars program was kind of what are your favorite colors, you coffee or tea, what's your favorite order where,
Mm,
what's your favorite, all that stuff. So you can kind of personalize that support. And had a volunteer drop off a coffee, that just said, thinking about you, like, I see you, you matter.
mm,
And she had come back to her desk, she said, to write up her notice. Um, and she was just done after all the things and after all the times, she was just done.
mm,
And that coffee, not to say that coffee kept her, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not
hmm.
not naive to say that that coffee cup is why she still works there, but it definitely has a part in knowing that somebody sees you and cares about you and knows the hard work you're doing every day to
Yeah,
make her say, okay, you're right, I'm good at this, I want to do this, I care about it, and so
yeah,
that can help me continue.
yeah.
uh,
I'm gonna start talking a little bit more about like the small, like the simple joy, like
yes,
the small things. It doesn't have to be a party every day. It can't be a party every day. But what are the small
right,
moments of joy, the simple joy that we can really highlight and look
yes,
for and begin doing that end up making up our lives. Like those are
yep,
the moments that make up our lives. And so
yep,
I love that story. And that is I mean, it's just a beautiful reminder that people need to be reminded that they matter and
yes.
that the work that they're doing is important. And so, again, beautiful work that you are doing
Thank
at
you.
Social Empowerment Texas. And I am so excited about what is to come. And so yeah, let's kind of keep in contact
That would
and
be
just
great.
would love to just continue hearing about your journey. So what's going to happen is the all the information about Social Empowerment Texas is going to be posted in the podcast notes, and we'll just definitely encourage folks to check it out and to learn more about what
Yeah,
Lauren and her organization is doing.
that sounds great. Well, thank you so much for having me and being interested to have me and to continue the conversation for sure.
You can begin asking different questions to staff, to volunteers, and to families on, is your process clear? Is it helpful? Do people understand it? Because oftentimes we can get so immersed in a thing, we think it's clear, but you've looked at it 50 times. If someone's new and they're coming into your organization, into your ecosystem, how easy is it for them to understand? And so sign up for the newsletter today, subscribe, you will be sent that child welfare confusion audit. I'm looking forward to staying connected.